All right, everyone. It's another Friday, which means it's another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson.
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way. Do we know what we're doing, Marshall?
I don't know, because we were just chit-chatting backstage, and you're like, oh, it's time.
It just says schedule. Whoa, zero time.
Oh, my gosh. We were having a really good conversation, too. So,
yeah, we'll pick that up later.
Yeah,
How have you been, man?
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. And I kind of feel like we're becoming a habit forming for some folks. They're always here. So that's really great. And but we want to have more new blood watching, right? So we would love it if you would share that you're watching. We'd also love it if you would chime in and say hello. Where are you watching from? And then also don't forget that this is a Q&A show. So what's that mean, Alan? What's Q&A mean?
We need questions and answers. If we have questions you have to answer, you have a question, that's what it's about. And you know what? I'm sharing, Marshall. We can't talk about that without talking about last week's show. Our views went through the roof. Thank you, everybody that shared. If you missed it, go back. I mean, we had M&R, MHM, and Rock on. It was incredible.
It was a great panel discussion, and it's fostering some discussions with me and Alan about who else can we bring on the show like that,
Aviant International Coatings, I don't know, and some other.
We'll see where that we'll see where that thread leads us when we start pulling it. But
exactly. So get Kiwo Yolano Autotype.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things we can do, right? So, but anyway, we appreciate everybody watching and being part of our show. We try to make this interactive, using this platform. We try to make it interactive. So, but we really need your comments. We really need your questions. And last week we had so many comments and questions we couldn't possibly get to them all. Mm-hmm. So, but we appreciate everybody. So. Anyway, let's say hi to some folks that are here. So Charles is here from New Mexico. Welcome back from Paradise, Alan.
Thank you, Charles. I had a wonderful time. We'll talk about that afterwards after we say hello.
Yeah, and Ray's here as always, and so good to see him. Gosa says it's a midsummer party in Sweden. You're all welcome.
Let's go. I'm ready.
That's right. I haven't watched that movie, by the way, Midsummer.
I haven't either.
It's a horror movie about, I don't know. Anyway, Peter's here. Pete and Val from Port Huron, Michigan, on our way to Grand Rapids to pick up a small dryer for our mobile print shop. So, Peter, you need to send us some pics. We want to see what you're doing with that. Very curious. So, good job.
Absolutely.
Frank's here. Happy Friday, gentlemen, from Houston, Texas. 99 degrees with 65% humidity. We need some rain.
We were in the 90s up here in Michigan the last couple of days, and yesterday it's been nice. It's been back in the 70s and low 80s, so it's been nice.
It's only 91 today here in Phoenix, so
and it's early in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I think it's going to be a good day here. Also, I love the heat. It can't be hot enough for me. So
you know what? I do too. I love the heat. I don't know why I live in Michigan in the wintertime. I'm in a horrible mood. When I was in, Charles, you said Paradise. When I was in the Philippines, I was sweating all the time. And, my nephews over there were, Uncle Alan, you're sweating. Well, that's because I'm in the Philippines. But I still loved it because it's Africa hot. The quote
from
Biloxi Blues.
Yes, exactly.
Biloxi Blues.
Right.
Yeah, this is like hot. This is like Africa hot. But it is like Africa hot with 99% humidity all the time. And this is the first time we really talked about it. I had such a great time, aside from being detained by customs because Marshall slipped illicit drugs in my suitcase before I left. No, he didn't. And the travel part was a little rough, but you know what? It was a great time, and I'll do it again quickly.
Travel is travel,
And you know what? You just go with the flow, and the more you do it, the more you learn how to work it out. As I listened to the podcast of Richard and you laughing about me. I was detained by customs coming into the states, and it was a mistake. I was set in a room, and 2 officers came in, called me to get my stuff, and they're serious, and they bring me outside, and they apologize. They go, this was a mistake. You were just supposed to have your bags randomly checked.
And by the way, you strip search before you go.
By the way, is the gloves coming on? Yeah. But I missed my flight, so that's why I missed the show. But thank you, Richard Greaves, for filling in. And I'm glad I was able to get on at least for a little bit in the Philippines that first time. The second time, there was no service. It would have been ugly. So
right. Yeah. So some more comments. Sarah's watching from Minneapolis, Kansas.
Sarah, how you doing?
Chris is here. Good morning, gentlemen. Hurley.
Canada.
Ray says, I always seem to get detained by customs. Must be my attitude or the case full of odd tools.
You know, I always got stopped in Korea, was pulled and always searched my bags. There's something about especially when I was younger, my passport they would look at me, look at the passport, look at me, look at the passport, and then motion me. It's like every time. So there was something about me that they just did not like. And they thought I must look like a known terrorist to them. So, but that happens.
You're kind of a sketchy looking guy, Alan.
Very sketchy. But now he's just like, man, I bet in his younger days he was scary. Now he's just very slow.
Right. And Mike's here. Good morning. Welcome back.
Michael, how you doing?
All right. So we have a fun show today planned, I think. So we'll find out in a minute when it actually gets further in how fun it's going to be.
Did you see Ray's comment?
No, I missed it. What does it say?
Look down after
my tension meter looks cool and menacing on an X-ray screen.
Yes. So tension meter, the dial and stuff could look like a bomb on there. So yeah, absolutely.
What is this thing? Well, the tension meter to measure newtons. What is that?
A newton's deck has to be illegal. Newton. We can't have a newton. We can't have newtons in here.
So. Fig newtons. Exactly. What you should have is a box of fig newtons next to the tension meter. I measure newtons with the device.
Exactly.
Fig newtons.
So when they searched my bags, I had like all kinds of baked goodies from the Philippines, PIA and stuff like that, and they were all packaged. And one guy was Filipino and goes, "Oh, you brought all the good stuff." I go, "Packaged, so he goes, "No, it's fine." So yeah.
All right. Well, let's run our GSG commercial, and then we'll get to some stuff. And by the way, we have no control on the volume. Somebody commented how loud this is. Sorry.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, here we go. All right, there we go.
You know what? GSG is doing a lot. They have a lot of I know Mark Soldonic was down in Houston at their branch doing a seminar, a training thing for people. He's going to be in Cincinnati next month on the 14th doing textile training. He's invited me. I'm going to try to stop by there, and because he's going to give me about an hour to talk reclaiming. So we'll see how that goes.
Awesome. So, I wish I was in Cincinnati. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. So we're going to try to make that work out.
By the way, William says he has pastels in his backpack on a trip and got searched because they look like bullets.
What are pastels? I'm not sure what those are.
Like your drawing crayons.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
That's funny. All right,
yeah.
Cool. So, hey, let's start off with a topic near and dear to our heart, because we've talked about this before, but it's checklists. I had a coaching call with one of my clients today, and we were reviewing their checklists that they're using in production for quality control. So I thought this might be a fun topic to bring up today. Mm-hmm. And because, do you have a checklist? And this could be in any process: a sales checklist, for order entry checklist, a financial checklist, production checklist. There's many reasons why you use a checklist. And think about how airplane pilots or surgeons or other people might use checklists to ensure quality, is because we want to verify that we're doing something right. Now, you can't have a checklist and just check the boxes and not actually, do the checking part.
Yep.
Okay. So how checklists work best is that you're actually checking.
Yeah.
You're not just, oh yeah, I got that. You actually have to look, right? So what are your favorite kind of thinking, Alan, about using a checklist?
Well, I actually have one that I just made last night, and it's on a different venture that I'm kind of thinking about. No, it's not the podcast. This is on a different possible property, and it's actually overseas, and did some research, and I made a quick checklist of things I need to look. And, there's only 4 things right now, but those 4 things will develop into, before I can move forward, these are the things I've got to find out in order. And, checklists sometimes, and I always when I think of checklists, I do think of airplane pilots. And one, because I saw that, and because of Ali Banholzer talking about it, but then also in the movie Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, they have the checklist, and there's an argument about, hey, I think this is wrong. And he says, look, we're on page 6. You're already on page 863. And, they do things in order. And you have to keep doing that. And that just keeps things in order, done things decently and orderly. And it's not just a random checklist. So I always try to think of what has to be done first. Then that, once I get that, what's done second, what's done there. So,
and what we're after is predictable results.
Correct.
Right. We're after the results. That's why we want the checklist. So pilots don't want to crash. That's their predictable result. They want to be able to take off and land, right, with no issues, right?
It is
so
very
checklist, hey, did a bird just fly into the engine? No. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's very difficult to pull over and call AAA from 35,000 feet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so you have to do that. And their checklists, they do all the time on very precise safety checklists before they take off and do that. And if there's anything there, and it's not just check, they do that. We've all seen the movies when there's a problem. All right, what's the procedure? The checklist, bam, and they start going it. And that's why Ali Banholzer, because her husband was the pilot for Air Force One, and we want to thank her and her family and him for everything. But that's why Ali says, "Do you have your checklist?"
I think Ali would probably use a checklist even if she wasn't married to Dave.
I think so too, but I think it just being married to Dave and everything he went through, I think when she really started getting into business, it just exaggerated and brought it more to the forefront.
Yeah, right. So Pete says, does a honey-do list count? Mine's a mile long. The answer is yes, because if mama isn't happy, nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy.
It does count.
Yeah.
So Ray says, I have to write one for each client I work with, master checklist for me, QC management, and keep subsections for each person or activity. Keep the operator on their local list while you watch the larger picture. Yep. This is all about the results that you're trying to engineer. Right? So this is process. What do you want to happen?
Yep.
This is exactly it right here. Thanks, Ray. Anthony says, I need help putting a bid in for university. Oh, this could be a different question. They want to know the discount off MSRP, cost to reorder within 1 year, and samples for each department. What is the best practice for this situation? Any insight is appreciated. This is fresh territory for us. Okay, so you want to put a bid in for a university. Then you want to know the discount off MSRP. So this is all about really outlining what the results that should happen, right? So if you think about this, I would also look into getting an agreement with you, and your discount is based on the term of the agreement and also how much they're going to be ordering from you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So to achieve the discount, you're gonna say, hey, sign here, And the reason I'm giving you the discount is because now we have an agreement. All right. So what is the discount? You don't say what the percentage is. You also don't say what the MSRP is, right? So you're in control of all of that anyway, right? So commonly, if you go to any store, you'll see that they have a discount rack of 50% off. Well, they marked up that shirt 400%. They're still making money at 50% off. Don't be alarmed.
Right.
Okay. So what does it cost you? Do you know your cost? Do you know your profit? Do you know what's going on? Also, what do you have to do for them? Are you setting up an online store? What are the garments you're doing? Is this embroidery? Is this screen printing? I mean, there's so many factors here. It's crazy. Okay. So what I would do, since we're talking about checklists, okay, is I would start with what do you need to, what do they expect? Right? Is there a turn time they expect? Is there an order volume they expect? Is there a budget that they have? What are your knowns? And also, what are the unknown knowns that you don't know yet because you haven't asked those questions yet? You need more information. I need more information just to answer this question. Okay. So get all of that out in the open, right? So it's kind of like if you go see your doctor, hey, doc, my knee hurts. They're just not going to give you pain medication because your knee hurts. They're going to examine you and get all the details.
Yep.
Okay. Because maybe it's a blood clot and not a muscle tear, right? Who knows what's going on? That's why they examined you. It's the same thing here. You need all of this information to be able to do a good job to put together the bid, right? And it's not just a McDonald's order. Would you like fries with that? Right? Mm-hmm. Which is what a lot of people do. They just, here's my thing. And they don't really answer the real question. Also, what happens if you're doing something for the university? Does it have to go through collegiate licensing? Do you have to I keep in my brain as I'm answering this, I keep thinking of new questions to ask, right? There's so many things going on, right? Go ahead, Alan.
And Marshall, I'm going to bring up a question from his question that I'm not even sure the answer. This is for you. There are two things here that in this question that concern me. Cost to reorder. They're looking for a locked-in price that tells me right then. How do you do that in today's economy? You can't. Can you? And then samples. Many a shop has went out of business being sampled to death. How many samples? What are they? How many colors? You need to know exactly what they're looking for on there. Because you could be caught up in that sample cycle going, it'll pay off in the end. And if it doesn't pay off,
right.
It's a lot of time.
The sampling process, I was just talking with one of my clients a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. The samples that you run for your client, the cost of that process needs to be included in the order, right? So, because it shouldn't be free, right? It should just be roped in, right? So what is the expectation? What you want more than anything, Anthony, here is clarity, crystal clear clarity about what the expectations are. And if this university can't answer your questions, right, this is how you prove to them your value, because everybody else is just going to just throw them a number. You're going to be asking questions to them that they have never remotely even thought of, which is going to prove that you're the expert in your field, because they're going to go, oh, this guy's really on top of it. What do we want to do? Right. Mm-hmm. Also, look at your processes. So if you're doing, let's say you're doing an online store, right? You're doing an online store and it's going to be for 3 or 4 university departments, right? And they're asking you to print and hold inventory and then ship as people need it. Mm-hmm. Why not just use transfers for that and just do it as print on demand, or actually heat press on demand, and then get things out. And you can be doing that really quickly with minimal effort and cost. You could also do it with a DTG printer or a one-head embroidery machine, right? There's a million ways to skin this cat, okay? But you're not making inventory and pulling from that, right?
Right.
And so how are you automating this process? So orders go through your system without people touching it.
Yep.
Right. So the cost of doing a unit of one is really high when you've got lots of people. When you automate the process where things happen, what I call auto magically, where it just bloops in and people do things, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
Right. So these are the questions I'll be asking. If you need further help with this, let me throw my email up here. Email me and let's set up a time and we can have a specific conversation. This question is really broad. So
it is.
Anyway, it's a good question. Thanks. Any more comments on that, Alan?
No. Like I said, that's more your forte than mine. There were two, like I said, those two things were a little bit red flags for me, and I wanted to bring that up. So
Yeah. Richard's here. Hey, Richard. Hey, we're talking about checklists, Richard, just so you know.
Yeah.
We'll get to 2-second lean here in a minute. We could talk about the checklist manifesto by what's his name? I forget the guy, but that's a really good book. I have it here on my bookshelf somewhere. Cal's here. Good morning,
from California. How you doing, Cal?
What's going on? Is that you?
No, that was you, man.
I didn't do that.
It was you that froze up.
Simon's here.
Hey, Simon.
Well said, Marshall. Thank you. Thank you, Marshall and Alan. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Okay. So, all right. Let's hide my thing here. And so let's finish up checklists. What to me, the favorite part that I have for checklists is just making the checklist really helps you understand your process and what's needed. So, for example, for Anthony here, he can make a checklist about what's needed to actually make this quote. Yep. I need further understanding about the frequency of the order and the size of the order and the garments they're ordering and the decoration method. And then what are my costs? How can I lower the costs? There's an endless list of stuff, right? So we can do a checklist. A spreadsheet's good for that. A yellow legal pad works just as well. A whiteboard, right? Just start brainstorming, right?
Yep.
Another easy way of doing this is to use Post-it notes. I like using Post-it notes, especially for process stuff when I'm building a checklist, because you can take the Post-it note and move it from here to here and rearrange what's going on, right? And then when you do a process map, Post-it note, if you turn it 45 degrees so it looks like a diamond, that can mean that decision has to be made, right? That's a real good way of making a process map where you're making decisions based on information. Decision tree right here, So all that can be part of your checklist process to help you kind of figure out how you're going to do this the best way.
Great.
Cool. Anything to add?
No, not really. I think there's just a lot of information. I think too, sometimes when you get bids like this and you see it's a university, we get all excited. Don't get enamored by the customer. Because if it's a bid, you're not the only one. They have to get it probably a minimum of 3. They'll get 4 or 5. And, they might go for the lowest one. They might be trying to keep their current supplier, but it is an opportunity. So, but don't get enamored going into university.
Well, the lowest bid isn't always the right person, because the lowest bid's not going to have your process, and you stick to your guns, and then they'll come crawling to you when that guy ruins it.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
So, all right. Post-it notes and a glass wall. Love it.
Perfect. Yep.
Lon's here. Good morning.
Dr. Lon Winters. How you doing, sir?
Ray says, small permanently printed whiteboards with check boxes for grease pencil work well. A low-tech tablet. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I bet you can buy one of those on Amazon for probably $10.
Yep.
All right. What was our next one? Oh, here you go.
Lead with empathy.
Lead with empathy. Okay. So the reason I want to talk about this today is that we're having a hard time finding employees in this industry, and you guys all know that. And I can tell you from long experience being a leader in the industry, not every employee is perfect, right? A lot of people have issues, and you
Right.
might have an employee that's a good employee, and then suddenly they're always late, or they keep messing up, or the challenges happen.
Yeah.
And before the call, I was sharing a story with Alan where earlier in my career, I had a worker who had he had some family issues, and he started missing work. And then somebody in the shop, one of the other leaders, wanted just to fire the guy. But as a leader, I hadn't really taken the time to investigate, to find out what was going on. And so when I kind of had a deeper conversation about it, it was obvious that firing the guy, this is a temporary phase he was going through. There was some medical drama going on, and we needed to cut the guy a little slack. It was going to work out, and just adhering to the rule book wasn't the proper thing. And then I don't want to go into all the details because it's publicly here. So, but it's one of these things where by letting him have some slack and not following the rules, so to speak, we gain the respect of him, and we also gain the respect of all the other staff in the company because they saw how we handled it. Now, that's not to say that people with other issues where they were missing work and stuff were handled the same way. They weren't. We had disciplinary actions for them because it was a different situation. So I think a lot of times folks go through problems. They go through challenges. They have medical issues. They have money issues. They have problems with their kids, problems with their parents, whatever. And of course, sometimes they tell you lies about that, right? Yep. But it's up to you to discern what's going on. How many times can a grandparent pass away? You know what I'm saying? It's the adult version of my kid ate my homework, right?
Right.
But we need to lead with empathy a lot of times. And I think especially now when we're having trouble finding staff and we need to hold people accountable, we also need to have empathy in our jobs, right? So, but what are your thoughts on that, Alan? And also, if you're watching this right now, if you've got a story to tell about that, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. And Marshall, when we were talking, I thought about, one, people I've worked with, and two, even my own self. We try to, when you want to be a good employee and you like your job, and this goes, in my mind, it goes under the thing of culture too. And I loved when you were telling me a story because you took the blame for it, going, this is my fault. I was a poor leader.
It was my fault.
I let to go through on that. The one word we came up with is that, what? Life is messy for all of us. I don't care how much we have it under control. Life is messy and hard. Sometimes it gets harder. Sometimes it's self-inflicted, but life is messy. And when you have, I think the key was, this was a model perfect employee, and then something happened. Some people are just irresponsible, and that's where disciplinary action comes.
Yeah, we're not talking about that here. We're talking about something else.
I know when there's empathy, when they go, life is messy, handle it. We got your back as an employer. That's great. And I'm going to talk about EasyWay. So my first year with EasyWay, I had an issue where I came off of COVID and stuff. And if you remember, my father passed away. If you didn't know, right before Christmas. And then a couple weeks later, I'm on the road with my boss, Alex, and I get a call. There was a problem with my mom in Florida. She was in the hospital, and I'm like, mom has had stuff like that before, and I'm trying to weigh, I got it. I can't keep taking time off work. What do I have to do? And Alex just told me right then, I was in Youngstown, Ohio. He goes, go to Pittsburgh, go get a flight. Go take care of it, and I go, no, I think it's okay and stuff like that. Well, if you remember, Marshall, 5 days later, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they're calling me and I have to fly down there. I call Alex and he goes, take care of it. He goes, and it was so funny. If you know Alex Mobilis, he goes, I should fire you for not going 4 days ago when I told you to. Get down there and take care of it. To me, that was his way of empathy on there.
Yeah.
Where life is messy. We have that stuff. And you have to empathize. That doesn't mean sympathy where you're suffering with them, but empathy. You're there with them. I get it. It happens. And when it's a good employee, and I will always be thankful for that.
Yeah, and I've had similar, when I moved here to Arizona to work for Inksoft, I was there for a week and a half or 2 weeks, and I got a phone call from my family that says they're putting mom in hospice. She had lung cancer, throat cancer.
I remember that.
And like if you want to see her, you need to get on a plane. It was that bad.
Yeah.
And I'd only been there a couple of weeks. And I went to JP and I said, hey, this is what's going on. He's like, go, don't worry about us. And so I'd only worked there for a couple of weeks. I was gone for 3 weeks as we're, in hospice. It's the worst thing ever. I'm probably going to start choking up just talking about it.
Yeah.
And, and we had to bury mom and I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's but it meant so much to me that they paid me for my time, and I didn't have to worry about it. And so it's just one of these things where, people don't forget that. And so it was really great. And so I have a lot of, I don't work for Inksoft now, and but I still really respect them. And JP's awesome. And it's like one of these things where that stuff really matters when push comes to shove about things, and so if you never know what the real story is. And what's the phrase, Alan? If you think you've got it bad, go to the town square and have everybody unload what's going on, and you'll see that your problems don't really matter, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, that's kind of my thing. We've got some comments here. Let's get to them.
I have.
Go ahead.
My phone is off, and now here's the weird thing about family. This is a call from an aunt in Alabama who is my grandfather's last surviving sibling, who has been in, a home and all that. And I'm afraid that's their daughter on there, so I'll have to get that later. Let me give you a story on opposite of empathy. Go ahead. Let's look at Eric's thing. I love it.
So Eric says, huge. So many folks think being a leader means being a hard case. You can be firm without being unreasonable or unmovable. Yes. I'm the boss. It's my way or the highway. It doesn't always work. Right?
So here's a story of not empathy of a company. Company I worked for a few years ago. We're not going to say who it is. So my grandmother passes away, and this was almost a little bit like more than a parent because my grandmother raised me. And I'm at the Nashville trade show the last year they had it. The company I was with supported an event, which they didn't tell me about. I'm down there speaking. They knew I was going. They don't tell me about. But I go there, I speak. It's a small show. I'm there for a day, and I leave. And I don't go to this event because I have to go to Huntsville, Alabama to pick up my parents and everybody for my grandmother's funeral. They're from the hills of Alabama and stuff like that. So I'm talking, and they go, I'm talking to work, and one of the managers going, you left already? Yeah. He goes, hey, we paid a lot of money for that, event we're sponsoring. Shouldn't you think you need to turn around and be there? And he just lays into me. And I go, well, first of all, if it's that important, maybe you could have told me about it before I got there. And I heard about it from the event because I got an invite card. Nobody tells me. I go, second of all, I'm picking up my parents in Huntsville. He goes, taking a vacation? I go, if you'd like to call my grandmother's funeral a vacation, then yes. And I just laid into him. I probably should have been fired. To me, that was lack of empathy. And part of it is he didn't know, but that's because management didn't talk.
Well,
and it's
they didn't take time to know either, right? So,
and you know what that tells me? They didn't care.
Right.
And so that is lack of empathy. That happens. And sometimes things slip through the cracks, but that was lack of empathy. And I didn't give a crap what they said there. I'm not going back to this event. It's still just T-shirts. I'm picking up my parents, and we're going to go bury my grandmother.
Right.
So,
Right.
So that's lack of empathy.
Right. So William says Jack Clark, the coach of Cal Rugby, was one of the winningest teams in sports. Defines leadership as making those around you better.
Absolutely.
I love that.
You know what I was told? Leadership, great leadership, is training someone to replace yourself.
Yes. Right.
That's leadership.
By the way, there's a fantastic article that you should Google and read right now called "Give Away Your Legos."
You know what? The guy that wrote that's a pretty decent guy too.
I didn't write it. No.
Wasn't it you? Did you write something like that?
I did not write that article. So it's called "Give Away Your Legos." It's one of the best articles on leadership that you'll read.
What did you wrote something? You did a blog on give away something that was kind of a take off that, I thought.
No, I may have. I don't know. This article is 5-6 years old. So
well, that was a hollow.
I've written lots of stuff.
That was a hollow pat on the back for Marshall. My bad.
Yeah. All right. And then last comment here is Simon says PCP, only way to lead, praise, correct praise.
Correct.
Hey, man, thanks for putting in the effort yesterday. Hey, can you make sure that you check all the vowels in the screen room when you leave? Oh, yeah, I meant to tell you, bang up job on the school job last week, right?
Absolutely.
So sometimes that's called a correction hamburger.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Right. So, all right. Anyway, so thanks so much for your comments about that. Really good. So let's switch to our what we want to talk about today, which is from our sponsor GSG in their Pulse, and you can get that at gogsg.com. We're sharing what's on what page is this? This is I'm not sure on the page actually. This is page 7. So Alan, what are these two things?
Well, first of all, this is Easy Way 701 Screen Wash and Easy Strip Supra Emulsion Remover. I did not pick the products. Marshall actually did and surprised me with it. So thank you, Marshall. But GSG is an incredible dealer, one of our Easy Way's incredible dealers for us. They stock a lot of product. 701 is probably for the last 30 years been a premier ink degradant. It is 100% active solvent. It removes stain, ink. It works on all of them from plastic salt to solvent base to UV, and it's the go-to. Easy Way Supra, that's for dip tanks. You can go as strong as 1 to 5. I always go 1 to 7 is what I start with water in a dip tank. Some people have used it as a regular emulsion remover. You can. It's just too expensive to do that. I would go Easy Solve Easy Solve 500 for that. But yeah, these are two of the premier products from Easy Way, and we want to thank GSG just for being one of the top dealers and the premier dealer for us, and us having a place in their Pulse magazine.
If you had like a automatic cleaner like Lotus Holland or the new Blue Water or whatever, would you use either one of these in that? Yeah,
you would use 701 in both of them. So most 701 is kind of what we start with, whether it's an Ecotex, a Blue Water, a Lotus Holland is solvent base for screen wash. We do cut it with water in auto reclaims quite a bit on there. The Easy Strip, not so much in auto reclaims unless it's like a Blue Water, which has dip tanks in front, and that would be a product you could use. But I would use usually either Easy Solve 500 or Easy Solve 55 as the stencil remover. And in some of them, like the Ecotexes, on our Easy Solve 55, we can go almost like a 1 to 400 mixture. It's just like half a quart in there to a 100 gallon. And we have great results. So, yeah, so auto reclaim 701 is one of them that is still our mainstay for it. We have a couple other products that are a little bit different, but depending on the situation, but majority of it's 701.
Right. Cool. All right. Hey, Gavin asks, what's the article? Please. The article is Give Away Your Legos. And once we get going with their topic, maybe while Alan is yapping, I'll look it up.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so it's Give Away Your Legos. It's really great. It's all about your journey within a company and how some people like cling to what they're doing and they don't want the next job beyond because they're so tied up into what they do now, right? And
Yep.
it's really understanding how teams work and growth and all that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a really good article. So, all right. Third topic here is acknowledging.
And you know what, Marshall? We got all the heavy hitters on today between Ray Greenwood and man, Gavin's here, Lon's here, Simon's here. We got them all coming. Richard's here. So thank you, everybody. Ron Goodwin's here. It's a good day. Always with Ron Goodwin. So
yeah. So
did you see where Ron just posted?
No, hold on. I'm Googling.
Oh, he's Googling. So yeah, so thank you everybody for here. I can do that. I have control too. Check this out. Ron says my feet hurt from stepping on Legos. If you've ever done that in the middle of the night, that'll do it. So yeah.
So here's the first round review, by the way, is an excellent website with lots of business stuff. They're in my social media feed all the time, by the way. So firstround.com, give away your Legos and other commandments for scaling startups is the whole article.
Cool.
And then it's when did that come out? I'm looking at it right here. Is there a date? There's no date, right? So anyway, so it's written by a woman named Molly Graham, and this is when Google only had 25 employees.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
So
they've scaled. They've scaled a little bit.
25 employees to 125 people in 9 months. So this is about that process and that journey. So I think it's a good article to read.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so let's switch to the next topic. Whoop. Where am I? Acknowledging, right?
Yeah.
So a pet peeve of mine, it's the reason why I'm writing this today, which is, you send something to somebody and it's been a day or 2 or 3 or 5. This could be a client, this could be a friend, this could be your wife, this could be anybody, right? Yeah. And then you just don't hear back. It's like, your comment, your email, whatever, just got launched off a cliff and we don't know what happened, right? And what you hear a lot is, oh, I'm busy, right? And I totally get it. Sometimes I don't get to my inbox until the next day, but I try to reply all the time. And if I don't know the answer, I'll say, hey, let me look that up. I'll let you know by 5 o'clock or the end of the day or tomorrow or Friday or whatever it is, right? But you're acknowledging the receipt of whatever that is.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's really important as part of your communication strategy to acknowledge people that they're trying to do something and then you're doing it. Right. And I'm weird with my email. I only look at email 3 times a day. And then after 6 o'clock, I don't check my email again until the next day because it's family time for me after that. And it can usually wait. So that's kind of how I do it. Right. And I don't know if that's good or bad or what. That's just how I do it. Right. So, but I always acknowledge people. Right. And hey, let me get back to you. Let me look at that. I'll follow up. And I think that's really important. What do you think about this, Alan?
Well, it's extremely important, and it's one of my pet peeves. I hate it when I forget to acknowledge or miss something. I feel horrible. But it is one of my pet peeves, and I see it more. It might be because I've grown into the grumpy old man a little bit.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly, shaking my fist. And to me, there is no excuse for no communication. Yeah. You can do it by text, you can do it by email, you can do it by phone, you can do it by smoke signal, you can do it by registered letter, whatever you need to do. There is no excuse for it. There are people where I've sent an email or a text like, yeah, I got it. Really? How do I know this? Yeah. Now I've got to call. Yeah, I got it. I saw the information. Thank you. Yeah. That's all it took. Got it. you know,
we're all busy. I totally get it. And let me tell you, I cut tons of people lots of slack because I know they're busy.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. Just this one, but it's one of these things where just acknowledge that you received it, because I know that a lot of times things go to spam.
Yep.
You're busy. Stuff happens. You're on vacation. I mean, whatever, right? Just acknowledge what's going on. That's all we need.
As much as I travel and drive, and I don't text and email, but Marshall, you've gotten texts where I'm saying, there's a thing called voice text where I have a headset on my car or my earbuds, and I can hit it and I can talk a quick text. Marshall, I'm driving. Let me get back to you on that right now. When I stop, click, send, done. And it is a response. I've done that. There are ways to be efficient. We have every communication in the world. I don't text while drive. If you're traveling, that's one thing. And I get it. I've traveled and I've had to get stuff when I land. And I tell people, I'm sorry for the delay. I was traveling. I'm here. Let me look into that. But you have to respond. And it does. When you don't respond and you find that email, then acknowledge that. Marshall and I were talking earlier. I had to take a call. It was from a business associate here in the industry who, it's not like him not doing it. It was like 5 days ago. First thing is, Alan, I am so sorry. And I just said, Carrie, there is no need to apologize. I've been there. I've done that. He goes, yeah. He goes, that's not me. And I go, I get it. It happens. Mm-hmm. Life gets messy. It happens. But you have to acknowledge when we fail. But it is, to me, it's not even unprofessional. It's beyond freaking rude.
Well, sometimes it feels that way, right?
It is.
Right. And Chris here says, my phone died and I couldn't call back. That was
4 days ago. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
So just lame. And I know if it's been like a couple of days or a week, mm-hmm. I'll say, hey, I have no excuse. Here's what's going on. Yeah. Here's the answer. Some days, there's just stuff going on, a lot of times I don't really tell people what's going on because sometimes mm-hmm. it's none of their business. But I will say, hey, it's my fault. I will totally admit that I didn't respond and just own up to it. And I'm not trying to make an excuse. I'm just saying, hey, this is what happened, right? But we need to acknowledge what's going on more than anything. And I think if we just take some responsibility with things, I think everybody would be better off professionally sometimes.
Yep. I love the notes. Like I am one that when I'm traveling, I will use that windshield time as I'm doing phone calls and stuff. I love voice calling. I love mm-hmm. automatic calling. And if someone's on the phone or in a meeting, I love a text. I'm in a meeting. Can you call you back? Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes those are already just pre-approved AIs, and that's fine. But yeah, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
We do that at work a lot with me and my boss. It's like, hey, I'm here. Can I call you back? And I'll say, if I can text, I'll leave a voice text. Yeah, no problem. Not an emergency. When you get time, just before the day or in the morning or whatever.
Right. And Chris says got one at 7.
Yeah.
Sean's here.
Hey, from Alpharetta, Georgia. How you doing, Sean? So,
hey, do you still got that giant head of Alan in your office? Just curious.
God, I hope not.
I hope so. I hope he still has that.
Oh, yeah. That giant head of Alan, which it's on screen now. So, yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. He does. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Did we mention the Easy Way price increase just to Alpharetta, Georgia?
Yeah.
It's huge.
There's a tax for that city, right?
There is.
All right. Our last topic today is a favorite of mine, which is processes. It kind of goes in line with the checklist thing, and it's about engineering the outcome that you want. And I think for a lot of people, they have processes, mm-hmm. but a lot of times the processes that we have don't always work.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to really look at your processes to ensure that they're working. Okay. And so, I'm a quote guy. I love a good quote. And so there's one from Ronald Reagan that I love about processes, which is called trust but verify.
Yep.
Okay. And of course, when he said that, he was talking about the Russian
Nuclear
arms agreement, right, with nuclear missiles.
Mhm.
But it also could be true about any of the processes in the shop. I'm going to trust that we're doing it right, but you know what? I'm going to verify that it's
What
really
need verification. Yep.
okay. And this could be, covertly, so when I was running shops, I'm always the first guy in. I would do a loop around the building and look at work in progress. And I would look at stuff and take pictures and whatever just to make sure everything's right. But sometimes I'm doing that in front of people too. And, so you've got a box of shirts there. I would sometimes just empty the box and start counting. And does it match what's on the form? You don't do it all the time, but you do it once a month. Everybody really knows that they should be doing it, right? So, it's just really, I'm trusting that you're doing it right, but I'm going to verify that it's correct, right? And so this is how you solve problems in your shop. I remember one time we had a big issue with small orders in embroidery. And the big challenge was that the orders were being mixed up in shipping. And what was happening is the boxes were made with the label as the stuff was being embroidered, and somehow this wrong shirt was going in the wrong box. And that happened on the trimming table. And so it wasn't, it was our process. So you had to physically be there and watch what was going on. And it was because of the chaos that was these tiny orders. That was the issue. And so what we had to do was we had to stop putting on the labels on in advance. We had to do it after the order was complete. Then we would package it. So they were trying to save time, which makes sense, but the process didn't work, right? And so it was causing lots of frustration in our customers, lots of frustration and extra cost from the business into the company, right? And so this is one of these things where you had to actually be there and look at the process, talk to people. This is how I figured it out, right? And it wasn't because people were maliciously doing the job wrong. They thought they were doing the right thing, but it turns out it was wrong, right? So we have to be looking at our processes, checking to make sure they're right. And that's how you ensure that everything's working the way it's supposed to work, right?
I had Marshall this week. I went into a shop that I've known for a long time. Last time I was there was quite a while ago. They just moved into a new building, and we talk about processes and people doing things. This was so nice to be there, and I have pictures that I can share later on. They have done everything. And I told Marshall, I said, you would have loved this. You would have had a small screengasm probably, because they had screens exposed, set up in racks per job for 2 days ahead of time.
Yeah, that's great.
Every shop or every press had the pegboard with the tools, any chemical, any tape and stuff on there. Exactly the same at every press. They had kit packing of every shirt and every order already lined up behind them with the screens and stuff. They had every what they called a pod of printer and dryer, automatic and all that, had a rack with every squeegee and multiple flood bars and stuff like that, all right there. And I'm like, is this Marshall Atkinson's? It's what he dreams about? I think so. Because is this heaven? No, it's screen printing. But that's what I thought. And it was so refreshing to see that, because we're always talking about it. And I've actually invited them to Shirt Lab. We're going to see if they take me up. I have 2 tickets. And so.
Hey, awesome segue, Mr. Howe.
Yeah. So
because
that was the process there that I had to share. So right there, Shirt Lab Chicago.
Shirt Lab Chicago. Go to shirtlablive.com. We got a little video you can watch. Get your tickets now. So here's why: look at this lineup. Jay Bassell, who is just dynamic speaker. He does the marketing for Equipment Zone. He was our first speaker at the first Shirt Lab live event in Columbus in 2018. Actually, during his presentation, he was talking about your vibe attracts your tribe. And that's where Shirt Lab Tribe came from, was from his presentation. So he's leading off the day. Then we got Rum from Supercolor, going to talk about building a branding process. That's going to be great. Tom's going to talk about how to create events in your city to help build your reputation and sales. He's the master at that.
Man.
So it's going to be really fun.
The mayor of Mac and Cheese Fest in Dubuque, Iowa.
Well, he's got numerous events.
Yeah.
Not just that one. Okay. So Renee is an expert in sales. She's going to talk about how to close a deal in 10 minutes or less. So even Alan, you can learn from that, I'm sure.
I'll probably be taking 1,000 notes.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about why NFTs could be the next thing for the industry. Yep. Matt Marcotte, rising star in this industry. He's awesome.
Incredible guy.
He's doing a bunch of videos for M&R. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yep, I saw it. He started doing them again.
Yep. And
tell you what, for screen print process, he's the man.
Yeah, well, he's talking about how if you can run your shop more efficiently, it's the best defense about inflation. And who doesn't need that, right?
Absolutely.
Dawn is all about web conversion. So do you have a web page? Is it making you money? No. Listen to her. It's going to be great. Kevin's all about building a sales team. And, of course, Richard, our best friend, is going to be talking about foundational stuff that you know that you have forgotten. Right?
You know what? I love it.
He's excellent at that, by the way. So it's his thing's going to be probably the highlight. We've got a networking event at a place called Elephant and Castle. And that's where we do our rock, paper, scissors. We're giving away Stahl's Vision IQ. Thank you so much to Stahl's for that.
Yep.
Also, thanks to GSG and all of our other sponsors for sponsoring, by the way. Friday, we're having a VIP dinner. We haven't updated our website here, but it's going to be at a place called Italian Village, which is a couple blocks away from the hotel. We have a hotel block.
Look at that picture
now. The room block deadline is June the 30th, so make sure you get on that. You want to learn more about our speakers, here's the headline stuff, and then here are all of our sponsors. So huge shout out to Jerseys, SNS, GSG, Rock, Supercolor, Stalls, Seps.io. That's Gavin, if he's still on here. He's our newest sponsor, so thank you, Gavin. Equipment Zone, Chipley, Easy Way, Graphic Source, All Made, M&R, Printing United, Buckets of Ink, Peerless Umbrellas, Cobra Flex, of course, me and Tom, and then our media partners, Screen Printing, Images, Impressions, Graphics Pro, and of course, Apparelist. So lots of shout out. All of these folks make our dream come true, which is helping and elevate the industry. So they're paying the freight on this event, but also our virtual events and all of the stuff that we do. For example, next week, we're having a workshop on how to improve your website with SEO and functionality and all types of stuff with a guy who actually I'm paying right now to redo my website, right? So his name's Austin. He's incredible. So anyway, so huge shout out to all these sponsors and everybody. But get your ticket now. It's July the 22nd in Chicago. This is going to be something I think if you don't go, you're going to hear about it and you're going to be one of these, gosh, I wish I went kind of a thing. Right. Yep. By the way, Rock right now is giving not only tickets, but the airfare to go.
Wow.
So if you want to go for free, go to Rock's social media page and click the link and enter. I don't have the link for that right here, but you should not have an excuse for going. Also, Frank has a good comment, which is the ASI Chicago is that whole week. It ends Thursday. Our event starts Thursday night with the networking, and then it's all day Friday. So if you're going to ASI Chicago, you can just stay an extra couple days, and then you're going. It's going to be great. So,
and Marshall,
anyway,
I want to put the plug in for the VIP dinner. Man, that is always the best time.
It's incredible.
I remember last year at Fort Worth was the first time I was there, and sat there with Brittany from Widmouth Systems, and it was so great. And just meeting everybody, and it is really just a great deal. So
the VIP dinner is awesome. And if you've never been to a 3 or 4 hour industry dinner, you're missing out.
Incredible. I'm really looking forward to that part.
And I won't even tell you how big the bar tab is. It's nuts.
Yeah. Thank you to you and Tom.
Well, thanks to our sponsors, because that's who pays for it. Okay, so that really helps us out with VIP dinner and things, and so
I nod yes, like I did that for Easyway, and that's really Alex Mimosa and Sarah from Easyway Top Management. So I know we're glad to do that.
So all right, couple things. Let's get to some comments. So cheers, guys. We use SketchWow to clear diagram our processes as we speak. I think that I'm not sure who this is probably Daryl Garcia. If it is, or it could be Nate Leber, not sure, because it just says Facebook user. I'm in a Catalyst program, and we were using SketchWow to diagram our processes. And SketchWow is fantastic for that, by the way. It has pre-made things. It's really easy to use. I've got a couple that I'm doing for my own business. It's fantastic. Recommended highly. So thanks for that. Ron says, Daryl and I will be there. I know it. Can't wait to see you guys.
And you know what? Hey, Ron Goodwin's going to be there. It's going to be a good event when Good's there. It's a good event. And I can't wait to see you, Ron. It's been a lot of years. So, yeah.
Gavin says, you're welcome. Thank you for sponsoring. You're welcome. Appreciate it. Ron says, West Coast and East Coast Summit. You know it.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, so here's the interesting thing is for Shirt Lab, once you go, you'll be going back, right? A lot of the people that attend these things have been to 3 or more of our events, right? And I think this is what is this? So this is our 7th live event we've had in 4 years, right? So, it's just one of these things where by the way, this is going to be a fantastic event. It's in a high-rise building, downtown Chicago, overlooking the park. Right across from us is the Married with Children fountain, whatever the name of that thing is. It's right across from us, right? So that's where we are, downtown Chicago, right on Michigan Avenue, right? So anyway, David Slagle's going to be there. Yep. Thanks, Chris. You should come.
There? Chris, you need to come. Yeah.
Right. Daryl's been 5 times.
If Daryl's coming out, it's a good thing. With him and Ron Goodwin, it's no good event.
Yeah. And what's fun, last year at Shirt Lab Fort Worth, I personally used a test case from Daryl in my presentation live. And I think he still has that piece of paper that we sketched out, right? So anyway, he corrected he's got his on there. So he's the Facebook user. Thanks, guys. All right, so we're out of time. This hour went quick. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We really appreciate you. Appreciate your time in being here. And if you're watching this as a recording, thank you also. Please leave a comment. Please like it on YouTube. Leave a comment on YouTube. We want to build up those also. So, that would be awesome if you did that. Anyway, thanks so much, everyone. Appreciate it.
If you guys have questions, just email us. We're always here.
Yeah, right. Cool. Take care. Have a good weekend.